So you're looking to get into Final Fantasy VII Remake, and you don't even know how to play the game at all, and you're looking for a comprehensive tips and tricks video that's not just 5 or 10 minutes long. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've came to the right place. I'm ready to give out as many tips and tricks for Final Fantasy VII Remake as possible. Hey, these videos take a long time and a lot of effort to put together, and obviously if you're enjoying them, take a moment and subscribe to the channel. It isn't necessary whatsoever, but it shows me that you really are appreciating the videos and you're enjoying the content. Whether you're watching the video all the way through, whether you put your phone on the table and just listen to it while you're playing the game, whether you're in the bathroom or at work in the break room, wanting to learn how to get good at Final Fantasy VII Remake, this video will definitely help you out. And I certainly enjoy you guys checking out these tips and tricks here to help you out with the game. Final Fantasy VII Remake, a game that's been in the works for years. Remember the tech demo back in 2006 for the PS3? Yeah, that little tease? Well, now it's a reality. This video here is probably going to be about 20 to 30 minutes long of tips and tricks. I ain't your normal guy that does little 5 to 10 minute videos. I like to do the whole show. So here we go. And in no particular order, we're going to start off with tip 1 here. So you know Dark Souls, you know how you can just dodge roll all over the place and have invincibility frames? Well, you're not really getting many invincibility frames in Final Fantasy VII Remake. Really, you need to focus on blocking in this game. Yeah, you need to guard a shit ton. Because trust me, trying to dodge through the enemy is not going to help you whatsoever. Another tip is you can set your abilities to quick commands. Now, what does that essentially mean? You can go in the menu and instead of having to select the ability, you can do a button combination to do the ability. Makes it a hell of a lot easier to deal with. But of course, you need to consider where you're aiming that ability. You need to consider if you're aiming it at the correct enemy. So using the command menu makes it easier to aim at the correct enemy. While abilities are executed automatically after picking your target, it can fail for you if the enemy is not within range, they dodge it, or if another enemy gets in the way and blocks the attack. That would suck. If you get attacked, it could also be interrupted. Abilities are not guaranteed to hit the enemy, so please be careful not to waste your ATB points. Now here's a big tip here. Hold L1 when you're using items. And the reason I say this is because do you want to do one item at a time? That is freaking slow as hell. Get it out of here. Ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, and this is extremely useful whenever you have to heal your entire party. I mean, why the hell would you want to do one after the other and have the possibility of getting hit in between? No way, man. Ridiculous. Now in this game, there isn't exactly a best weapon for each character. Just remember that all the weapons are great at different things. It's best to choose the best weapon for your playstyle and party composition. And speaking of weapons, every time you level up, all your weapons gain the SP they're needed to upgrade. Even weapons that you don't even use yet, they retroactively have SP in them. So please make sure that you're upgrading your weapons often. You need to upgrade them often. Now pay attention to your map, because if you see a green marker on your map, that means it's a side quest. Even though you don't necessarily have to do them, they do give you extra items, such as new accessories, which is freaking awesome. You are going to definitely need them in Final Fantasy VII Remake. Pressing L2 will cycle between your mini-map, compass, or nothing at all on the screen. So if you don't want that map on the screen, get rid of it. You just want a compass, there you go. You want the mini-map? Well, here it is. Congratulations. That's how you do it. So once in a while, you'll find a blocked path or an item you just can't quite reach. Now, these objectives are called discoveries, and they're purple on your map. Now, most of these are optional, obviously. but you're gonna want to do your best to get these items because usually you earn useful items like materia. And if you can't figure out how to do it, look it up on YouTube, get on a guide. That's just the best way to find these items. I mean, like anytime like you're stuck in a game, like you literally probably get on YouTube and look up where to go next. That's what I do, that's what everybody does. So don't feel ashamed on doing it whatsoever because this is just one game and you got tons of more games to play. In Chapter 3, Charlie will give you the Assess Materia, which lets you learn an enemy's weakness and tactics. Once you use the Assess on an enemy at least once, just press the touchpad while in battle to view this information again. Obviously, just like Persona 5, you can see the weaknesses in Final Fantasy VII Remake. And obviously, just like every other game and RPG, you need to be looking around every nook and cranny for chests and even dingy Shinra boxes. Extremely important because they have rare accessories and even weapons you cannot find anywhere else. Shinra boxes will obviously keep you stocked up on items like potions and ethers, but please keep in mind that they're randomly generated, so it's not always going to be the same items. So don't expect it every single time that you walk up there like, boom, I'm going to get a potion every single time. You're not, unfortunately. And speaking of Shinra boxes, you can also get Muggle medals in them. Now, what the heck is a Muggle medal? Now, these medals can be used as special vendors for items later on in Chapter 8. The most exciting of these items are the books, obviously, which grants each character skill points to improve their weapons. So if you find a Muggle medal, you need to keep a hold of it. Obviously, they're extremely important for getting your weapon stats up. And just like other JRPGs, you need to keep accessories or items that improve your party members. Certain magic skills are attack stats. And Final Fantasy VII Remake is no different whatsoever, ladies and gentlemen. But this time, it comes in the form of materia. And please, do not sell your extra materia. First off, they're rare and you're gonna need them. Now, say for instance the boss is weak to fire and you equipped all your guys with fire up materia. I mean, hell, dude, you have a major advantage. Or you can equip them all with HP up materia. Big. Do not sell extra materia, obviously. Just like when you play Dark Souls and you have armor that's fire resistant and the boss shoots fire attacks at you, or the boss is weak to fire and you have a fire weapon. I mean, hell, it gives you a clear advantage. It's freaking obvious. So just don't sell them. So another tip with materia, you don't have to actually use materia for it to accrue AP and get better. It just has to be equipped by an active character. So say for instance, you want to get the AP up on Cloud. Well, hell, I'll go put it on Tifa and boom, there you go. So keep this in mind with Chadley. He will show up in other major towns as you progress throughout the game. So you have tons of opportunities to turn in battle initial reports and buy new materia or obtain new summons, which you're definitely going to need in this game. And of course, speaking of battle initial reports, they can be completed before you have even been asked to participate in them, which is freaking huge. So hey, fight tons of enemies in different ways, and the next time you see Chadley, you may instantly gain access to several brand new material types, which is freaking huge for this game. And of course, no worries, once you complete the game, obviously you get the chapter select screen, and if you haven't maxed out all your materia or found every weapon by the end of the game, you'll be able to go back via the chapter selection option after the credits roll, which is freaking huge for you completionists and you achievement hunters. And obviously you're gonna want the best weapons possible. And when part 2 and 3 comes out of the game, then you're gonna have one step ahead of everybody else. And the tips just continue coming on in here. And in Final Fantasy VII Remake, obviously, button mashing really isn't going to do much against the enemy. So those regular attacks, Kingdom Hearts stuff, ain't going to work here. Ain't going to work here at all. I mean, obviously, those standard attacks, you just need to use them to build up the ATB meter. Obviously. So you can hit them with more powerful attacks like your spells and special abilities. And character powerful attacks such as Barrett's Overcharge and Cloud's Punisher mode. Another tip is to rely on ranged characters to heal. Barrett and Aerith are better healers than Cloud and Tifa because they can build up their ATB gauges with ranged attacks. And obviously with a ranged attack, they're out of the way of danger compared to Cloud and Tifa, who are up close and personal. If you're ever in a pinch, get Barrett or Aerith to help you out using their ranged attacks to build up their ATB gauge, and boom, heal the party up. Always look for discounts. Every time you pass a shop or vending machine, go up and interact with them. If you see they have a yellow number next to the buy option, that means they've got items for sale at a special price. Discounted essentials like ethers, mega potions, they can save you in a pinch in a battle without costing you too much cash. So obviously with discounted items, you need to be looking for them left and right, obviously. And anytime that you see a bench at all in Final Fantasy VII Remake, you need to use it every single time because it refills your HP and MP gauges. So obviously if you hop on the bench and boom, you healed up, and then a boss fight occurs and you didn't get on that bench, well heck dude, you might have been screwed because you didn't heal yourself. Ridiculous. Don't get yourself caught up in a situation like that. And remember, once you get the assess materia, keep a hold of it and hit the touchpad to bring up enemy information in the middle of combat. You need to be using it like you use it in Persona 5. Obviously, when you're wanting to know the weakness of enemies. And of course, speaking of materia, make sure to have one of your teammates with the auto cure material on at all times, period. It's pretty damn self-explanatory what an auto cure materia is. It essentially heals anybody that automatically goes into the red in the game. So yes, you are definitely going to want to use this. Think of it like in Kingdom Hearts, whenever your teammates just heal you whenever you're about to die. Pretty big deal in my opinion. And just like I said before, do not sell your material, especially elemental materia, obviously. And you need to take these elemental material and equip it to your preferred main damage dealer. I mean, it could be Cloud alongside a fire or lightning material to do some serious damage to the enemies. Pro tip, monsters tend to be weak against fire while robots tend to be weak against lightning. So keep that in mind whenever you're fighting them. And speaking of characters' abilities, Cloud's triple strike ability is amazing. It really allows you to do some amazing crowd control. It does some serious damage to 3 enemies, one after the others. So really, it does help clear the room out. So is Tifa's Star Shower, which is a super powerful fury of blows and kicks to the enemy, which is going to knock the crap out of the enemy, which you're going to want to do. So is Aerith's Prey, healing the entire party without using a single MP is obviously always useful. You're probably going to want to have Aerith in the party. She is an incredible healer, obviously. And please do not hoard your limit breaks. There is really no reason at all to save them, and you're going to lose them after the battle anyways. So please use them like crazy. Don't hold on to them forever. Heal up using your spells before you smash crates. And obviously with Shinra crates being all over the game and containing useful items and Maka shards, which Maka shards will restore your party's MP a slight amount. To take advantage of this, heal up before you smash. When you get to Chapter 7 in the Final Fantasy VII Remake, the M items are not worth it. You're going to be given several choices to destroy pieces of the Air Buster boss before you fight it. Don't bother with the M items. They're not worth it. Dismantle the robot's AI cores and bombs instead. To find treasures in dungeons, go wherever your party isn't going or won't follow you. If you see two paths in front of you and your party goes down one path, well, obviously the other path leads to treasure. Of course, this is optional, but hey, it always helps out in the end. Whether it's healing items, weapons, or accessories, you're gonna need it. And hey, you're gonna want to spend more time in this game, so do it. So obviously in the game, stats aren't the only thing that matter on weapons. And this just goes back to choosing the weapon and playstyle that you prefer. And believe it or not, Barrett not only has guns, but he also has some melee weapons as well, which will pummel the crap out of the enemies, but of course it takes away his ranged ability. And Cloud, he has a magic boosting sword, which will turn him into a wizard, but at the cost of his melee power. So obviously you have to take into consideration what kind of weapons that you're using in the game. So don't just automatically upgrade when you see new weapons the way you would in the original Final Fantasy VII. Pick the style that works best for you. And of course, it's perfectly fine to set your weapon upgrades to auto. The menus at times are unwieldy and there aren't really all that many choices for your weapons. And speaking of material leveling, the best way to do so is to have as many material slots as possible on each character, even if you're low on cash. Once you get to Sector 7, be sure to purchase some iron bangles or star bracelets from the weapon shop to expand your available materia slots, because obviously the more slots you have, the more material abilities you can put on a character, which is freaking huge. And of course these items will bump up your defense as well, but in the end, ultimately the goal is to equip more materia. Also, know your attack modes and the ATB meter, obviously, when playing this game. And you can switch your mode by pressing the triangle button. Cloud switches into his slower Punisher mode stance, which increases damage and stagger output, but obviously makes him slower. Barrett will unleash a powerful charge shot, while Tifa strikes with a jaw-breaking uppercut. And obviously, just like other games, you need to keep a close eye on each character's ATB meter, which can tell you if they're going to be able to perform special actions on the bottom right of the screen. And obviously keep awareness of their HP as well, just like any other game. Now you also need to consider that the ATB meter does charge slower when you're not directly controlling a character. So be sure to jump around from time to time to different characters to get their ATB meters up faster. And obviously with Final Fantasy VII Remake, just like a lot of other games, heal often. Keep your eyes on the HP meters and do not hesitate to use those potions. Now, one materia that you can get early in the game that's powerful, it's called the Deadly Dodge. It allows you to quickly pull off an area of an effective physical attack after performing a dodge. Obviously, you should give this to Cloud because he has the strongest physical attack in the early game, but also because you control him in fights first by default, and you want him up close delivering damage. You can start most fights by rolling straight into the fray. No luck plus material required here as you slice and dice your foes. So essentially, as soon as you do the dodge, you're doing an attack. Freaking huge. And obviously with this game, you're gonna want to get your specs up like crazy. So once Biggs and Wedge teach you how to upgrade your weapons, you'll want to take full advantage of fleshing out your character's attributes every time you get a new weapon. Once you better familiarize yourself with the combat system and your party's individual strengths and weaknesses, try to build out their specs to match a role in a fight. Recommended is leveling up Cloud's strength bonus for damage dealing and Tifa's ability to stagger enemies, Barrett's ability to deal tank damage, and eventually Aerith's strength as a mage in the back row. So obviously if there's an ability that is strong for a particular character, that's like their strength, you need to focus on that with your specs in your weapons. And in this situation here with this sort of configuration in a battle, Cloud will rush forward, switching to Punisher mode to lay down some damage. Tifa will build up her ATB with standard attacks and then uses the Unbridled Strength ability to increase the enemy's stagger meter. And then Barrett takes pot shots from the back, and once the enemy is staggered and susceptible to damage, Cloud can then use a strong attack like Braver to deal massive damage. Tifa can execute her beefed up combos, and Barrett can take care of any healing that the party might need, because obviously Barrett does range and Barrett does a lot better with the healing class. Well guys, this has been Booming Success. I really do hope this video is helping you out with Final Fantasy VII Remake. I hope you're enjoying the game like crazy, like I am right now. I'm just so happy with this game. I'm happy after years upon years upon years that Square Enix has finally released the Final Fantasy VII Remake that fans have been craving for. Of course, it's only part 1, and we probably have part 2 and 3 ahead of us. And with 30 to 40 hours of gameplay, it's obviously going to be an amazing game. I mean, if you're really enjoying this video and you made it this far, obviously subscribe, because I plan on making more tips and tricks and review videos in the future like this one.